Assalamualaikum and hello to everyone. My name is Muhammad Ashraf bin Jasni. I study in OUM Serampai Learning Center in Bachelor of Occupational Safety and Health. So today we will talk about Minamata disease. Before we go to the introduction, let me share to you history of Minamata disease. Minamata disease was discovered first in city of Minamata, Kumamoto Prefecture, Japan in 1956. It was caused by the release of methyl mercury in the industrial wastewater from a chemical factory which is owned by Chiso Corporation, which continued from 1932 to 1963. Okay, now we go to the introduction to mercury poisoning. What is mercury? Mercury is a heavy metal and bright silvery in color. It is natural occurring element that found in air, soil and water. A highly toxic form of methyl mercury is built up in shellfish, fish and animals that eat fish. Mercury is a liquid or volatilized at room temperature and readily vaporized into the air around it. Vaporized mercury can make its way into the rain, soil and water where it poses a risk to the living things. There are three types of mercury. First is elemental mercury. The characteristic of elemental mercury is metallic and silver liquid. As we can see, the first picture is an example of elemental mercury. The second one is inorganic mercury. Inorganic mercury usually white in color except for cinnabar. Cinnabar, the color is red. Inorganic mercury is include mercury sulfide, mercury chloride and mercury oxide. Okay, the last is organic mercury. Organic mercury combined with carbon. It include the methyl mercury and ethyl mercury. Thus, the high exposure to this material can cause mercury poisoning. Now we go deep into the environmental and health effect of Minamata disease. Okay, now we go to the health effect first. Health effect of elemental mercury. The first one is kidney abnormalities. Kidney abnormalities, it will cause the kidney not able to filter the waste from the blood. The second is neurological disturbance. This will cause abnormalities in brain, spinal cord and also other nerve. And the third point is severe lung damage. It will affect the lungs, airways and circulation of blood in and out of the lungs. Next is organic mercury. Organic mercury can cause neurological effect, include infant, children and also adults. It will affect cognitive function, memory, language and fine motor. Organic mercury can cause acute leukemia, primarily affect the lymph nodes or other organs and affect the bone marrow and also the bloods. It also can cause MI or myocardial infarct and affect the immune system. For inorganic mercury, it seems like elemental mercury can cause kidney damage, but the difference is inorganic mercury can cause acrodynia or pink disease in children. Acrodynia is a pain and thus keeping discoloration conditions in the hands and feet. The third point is inorganic mercury can cause dermatitis. Dermatitis is the inflammation of the skin. Now we go to the environmental effect of Minamata disease. These are the few examples. The first one is wildlife that consume fish that have high concentration will exhibit subtle visual, neurobehavioral deficits and more. The second point is global temperature will be affected and may rise. The third point is declining of microbiological activity that is essential in terrestrial food chain in soil. Rising water level due to climate changes. And the last point is fish will have physiological abnormalities and cytogenetic effect of or even death. Now I will explain about the legal action that has been taken for the case of Minamata disease. In 1969, Minamata victims filed lawsuit against Chiso due to negligence. The court ruled in favor of the plaintiff and ordered Chiso to compensate the victims' compensation. In 1979, a former Chiso president and a Minamata factory supervisor faced criminal proceeding due to causing deaths and extreme damage body harm, then sentenced to prison. In 1982, Chiso Company, the Japanese government and Kumamoto prefectures were sued by the association for recognition as victims of the Minamata disease and compensation for the damage they sustained. In 1994, the Osaka District Court ruled that none of the government and the prefecture was blamed for the victim damage. In 1995, the Japanese government offered a settlement agreement for those who had not been certified with Minamata disease. The settlement was supported by several plaintiffs. In 2004, in Osaka High Court, the plaintiff appealed the ruling, which reversed the decision of the lower court and found that the defendants had not exercised the regulatory authority as required by the laws and on water quality and the Kumamoto Prefecture Fisheries Coordination Regulation. In 2010, a proposal to offer compensation to uncertified Minamata disease sufferers was accepted by the Japanese government. This measure would cause the uncertified sufferers who have not entered a lawsuit against the government to collect a lump sum payment, or Chiso and Chiso will pay 3.15 billion to three organizations. In 2014, the state, Kumamoto Prefectural Government and Chiso were ordered by the Kumamoto District Court to pay yen 106 million in damage to the three uncertified sufferers who sued them. In that case, the defendant denied responsibility for the claims that, due to mercury injection, the plaintiff had contracted Minamata disease. Okay, now we will be looking at strategies that have been taken to reduce Minamata disease. First strategy is closing down the source of pollutant. The source of pollutant was removed in 1968. The second point is effluent control. In 1970, the Water Pollution Control Act was enforced. Third strategy is the restoration of the environment. The fourth is limitation of the fish and shellfish consumption and reimbursement of the industry. The last strategy is the shift in emission condition. Monitoring of the concentration of methyl mercury in fish and shellfish continues even today around Minamata Bay. Okay, now we go to the suggestion on strategies to prevent this issue from happening in Malaysia. Okay, the first suggestion is we need to react to sentinel wildlife signals. Second is we need to be wary of purposely created dog. Third, information needs to be open and broadly available. Next, emphasize safety program for the environment as a reactive approach. We need to involve in public participation, and the last but not least, enforce environmental management standard. As a conclusion, Minamata issue remains important until now. It teaches us that it cannot be left to specialists in the environmental sciences alone. It is clear that Japanese political circles and the associated administrative institutions of government are utterly incapable of coming to terms with the multitude of problems centering around the huge pandemic. Thus, if all suggestions of strategies can be implemented, it will make the world better for the future. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. See you again. Bye bye.